If you live in the United States, then you know what time of year is coming up. Tax season, and along with it, all sorts of scams and fraud. But there is one easy thing you can do to protect yourself against a type of fraud, which is either someone filling out their own tax return but using your social security number, or someone filling out a tax return in your name. Both of these are a form of identity theft, and I'll explain why someone would do this later, but it does happen, and apparently at least one year it was nearly 800,000 times. And this is often enough where the IRS offers a feature to protect against it, which is exactly what this video is all about. It's called an identity protection, or IP PIN, and the idea is simple. It's a 6-digit PIN that you generate and is required to be included with your tax return. Anyone filing a tax return with your social security number that doesn't have that PIN will have it rejected. And the same goes if you instead use a individual tax identification number. And here's some more details about it. So to get one of these IP PINs, you go to irs.gov and then hover over File and then click Get an Identity Protection PIN, which will take you to this page, or I'll also put the link in the description. The PIN you generate is random. It's not like you pick it yourself, and also it's only going to be valid for the current year, and you will need to generate a new one each year. You'll need to use it for any tax returns you file in the current year, doesn't matter how many, and also it doesn't matter which years the tax returns are actually for. If you file your tax return with an accountant, make sure they have the PIN, and also if you use software, make sure you put it into that. Now, if you happen to forget the PIN or file your tax return without it or incorrectly, then it will simply be rejected. However, it does say if you file with a paper return that it will just take longer to process, and I guess they verify it some other way. Here's some additional information for when you go to actually generate this PIN. So when you go to the page I showed you and click Get an IP PIN, you will need to log in, and you can either sign in with an IRS account or an ID.me account, which is an account used by a bunch of US government services, though it's run by a private company. If you don't already have an account, you will need to register one and verify your identity with some kind of government ID like a driver's license. Alternatively, you can request a PIN the old-fashioned way by mailing in a certain form, and they'll mail you the number back. But for some reason, if you have an income above a certain threshold, you cannot do it this way. A third option is to make an appointment in person at an IRS office and verify your identity in person, and again, they'll mail you the PIN. I definitely think the best way is to just log in with an account. That way, if you lose the PIN, you can simply log in again and view it anytime you need to. Now, you might be wondering why you should do this, and I'll give you 2 scenarios for why someone might submit a tax return using your social security number. The first is to try and steal your tax return money. So someone might file a tax return with all of your info, your social security number, and they will probably put in some fake income, but they'll put their info as the payment info. So when they submit it, it's all your stuff, but the tax refund will go to them, or at least some account they have set up to collect the fraudulent money. The other scenario is if someone files with all their own info, but just use your social security number. This could be the result of a simple mistake, some kind of clerical error, or someone put the wrong social security number, or it could even be an undocumented immigrant who picked a random number and used it with their employer so they could get a tax return, but just happened to pick yours. So not purposefully malicious, but still a pain for you. So definitely worth it to just avoid the trouble altogether and get one of these PINs as early as possible, and maybe set a reminder in your calendar to get a new one every year. Now, on the IRS website, it does say you'll automatically get a new PIN if you got one a previous year, but I could have sworn that I did this a previous year and still had to request one this year, so I wouldn't depend on that, and maybe just check yourself every year and get one. Now, while you're at it, here are some additional tips that I would recommend. So first, I would say you should probably sign up and get a social security account with SSA.gov. It's called a My Social Security account, because I know for a while I read at the time it was pretty easy for someone to use your info and just sign up for an account and then divert payments to themselves if you were getting social security payments. I don't know if it's that easy anymore, but the thing is there can only be one account per social security number, so if someone signs up for you, then you're kind of screwed and you got to go through a whole hassle. So you may as well just sign up for one yourself, even if you don't plan to use it, just so no one else can. Also, to further protect your identity in this day and age, you should just keep all your credit reports frozen at the 3 major credit bureaus, so Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It's free to do this, and you can always unfreeze it temporarily whenever you need to apply for credit or something, and this will prevent someone from being able to steal your identity and apply for credit cards or whatever. But there's also another one that not many people know about, which is called ChexSystems, and from my understanding, this is kind of like a credit report for bank accounts, or at least this is one that a lot of banks use when creating a bank account. So I would definitely freeze this so no one can go and create a bank account in your name. And again, you can unfreeze it if you need to, but how often do you create a new bank account? So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned something. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and let me know down in the comments if you have any tips yourself. If you want to keep watching, the next video I'd recommend is one I made talking about a devastating new scam that has stolen billions of dollars from people, and it's actually really smart, and you should definitely know about it. I'll put that link right there. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.